I tell you, man, texting, texting, texting. When's the last time you sent a text message for a guy that was purely in fun? Well, today we're going to talk about 7 dirty text messages for him to turn him on. Now, dirty text messages, as you know, are a great way to get a guy's attention, and I've had 7 of them for you here today. But your faithful author here isn't going to just hand you words and tell you to blindly send them out to every guy you know. That would actually be very irresponsible of me, or anyone to say that, really. I see a lot of sites that promise if you'll just send this sexy text tonight, you'll have him racing over to your house for a quickie. And I know that's not what you're focused on. Anyone can pull that off. Just promise him the sex. What you want is for him to fall for you, not use you as his booty call. I'm not going to kid you that if you came here hoping for filthy, vulgar little quotes to copy and paste, well, you're going to be disappointed. And you know what? Even if I gave you those nasty little texts that way, you'd probably still feel the same way because those texts aren't what a guy really wants. If they worked, by the way, you wouldn't be Googling sexy texts to turn a man on, right? Your goal should be one thing only. It's to flash him a little bit. Really? Yeah, kind of like that cartoony thing with the guy or the girl in the raincoat, and they're naked underneath. Well, kind of like that anyways, or kind of like when you give him a little flash of cleavage or a little flash of leg or whatever, and he rewards you with a look of lewd desire. When you give him that little flash of sexual something, he'll be curious, but he'll want more, which is how you want it. But before I get into those 7 dirty little texts that'll get them hot for you, you need to know what your real goal is here. The first thing I want you to do is, step number one, figure out what result you want. Do you want him to just reply to you because you think he's about to ghost you? Maybe you want to turn him on and he's been a little bit elusive or cold lately. Maybe you want him to fall in love with you. Because if you just send him just dirty texts or sex without any idea of what result you want from him, you're going to be shooting in the dark. And it's very unlikely you're going to get what you're hoping for. So just take a few seconds to really think it out. Think out what you imagine him doing when he actually reads your text. Is he going to text you back, call you back, ask you out? Whatever it is, think about that result and what it would take to motivate him to get him to do that. Always ask yourself the big question of why are you sending this text? Because knowing the answer to that will tell you way more than any text messages that I'll feed you here. Don't worry, I will give you some though. Texting step number 2 is don't let it get too dirty in your texts. One of the biggest mistakes I see women making when they send dirty text messages for him is they get a little too raw. Here's a little secret. Guys don't like hearing or really seeing anything remotely resembling porn scripts outside of maybe a naughty movie like that, or when you two are in the bedroom. Remember, it's the contrast of the dirty girl versus the nice librarian girl. That contrast is what gets a guy really hot. And we, as guys, want to be the ones that are corrupting you and re-corrupting you over and over again. That's part of the fun of our working to get your heart and to get you to fall for us. So your texts should only hint at what you might be thinking about. Men have no problem taking things down a dirty road. So it's up to you, just you, to show us the door of opportunity, not give them everything. So start off mysterious and only hinting at the dirty thoughts that are running through your brain. Texting step number 3, keep things natural. Keep your texting as in the moment as you possibly can. You want any dirty or even regular text you send to feel like it sprang out of your day organically. It was just something that was on your mind. Guys have a very keen sense of when something is being thrown at us just to manipulate us or it's artificial. So don't send them a dirty text if you're not really feeling a little bit, bit randy, baby. Men know that women don't think about sex quite as much as we do, and it's going to feel a little bit weird and awkward if you're the one who's always coming up with these little dirty notions. It's going to feel a little bit off. But we'll also suspect something if you send sexy messages to us too often. Something just won't seem quite right. So you want a few dirty texts that will get them thinking about you? Some dirty texts that will get them in the mood for love? Here you go. Let's start off with sexy text message number 1. Do you think side boob is sexy? Yeah, under boob, over boob, side boob, whatever kind of boob. Boobs in general are going to make a guy pay attention. The word itself, boobs, makes us relish the thought of, wallowing around in that warm squishiness. Sorry, I got lost there for a second. So any text with a hint of boob in it is going to be a good thing, especially if you can make him think about yours. All right, sexy text number 2. If I was with you, I would have my hands under the blanket right now. Yeah. Send this one at bedtime and just count on one hand. 1, 2, 3. how long it's going to take him to respond to you. He'll get back to you quick. Again, you're not going to try to be filthy here. You're only going to hint at what might happen if he were there. The beauty of texting is that it's all one great big tease, and that always works in your favor. So what you're trying to do is stir up trouble, not just start it yet. Let's go on to sexy, sorta dirty text for him number 3. I can feel waves of heat coming off my body right now. Whenever possible, use sensory images to get a guy going. Anytime he can imagine the sensation of what you're saying, that will double the impact of your text. That one I just gave you isn't even really all that sexual. I mean, you could have just finished working out for all he knows, but he won't care. He'll just want to know one thing. What is it that's making you hot? And where is all that heat coming from? Which leads us to the very next sexy text message for him that will get him turned on. Dirty text message that makes him hotter than Alabama asphalt, number 4. I'd invite you over, but I don't know if I can keep my hands to myself. Again, you just want to leave him thinking about what that means, not telling him. He's a big boy. He can figure it out for himself, right? Which brings me to how you answer a man who will question your text. He probably will send something back. And, what do you say? Well, you should never explain your text to a man. I see women fall into this trap a lot. For example, she sends him a text like the one I just gave you, and then he sends back, what do you mean? And then she proceeds to freak out, thinking that he's calling her on it, and he's like, what do you mean by that? I don't understand. He knows what it means. He knows, and if he doesn't know, let him stew on it until he figures it out. It's not your job to fill in the space between your IQ levels, okay? The best thing you can do to a man is to leave him wondering about you or something you said to him, even if it's a slight bit of confusion. You don't want to be purposefully confusing, but just give him enough to chew on that he's thinking about you when you're not around. Which, by the way, is the secret for getting him infatuated with you, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that at the end of this video. Sexy text message for him number 5. I love it when you hold my arms over my head. Ooh, now this assumes that he's probably done this in bed with you already, but it also works great when he hasn't. You see, men have domination fantasies the same way you do, but in our oversensitive snowflake culture of ours, men are a little bit scared to express these things, to put it out there. So if you can make these moments of light bondage okay for us, we'll pay you back with some lusty fantasies and serious sheet shredding action. Go ahead, say that 10 times fast. Sheet shredding action. I think I've given you that tongue twister before. All right, sexy text message for him number 6. What's happening, hot stuff? Sometimes the best thing to send is just a little conversation starter that's fun and flirty with no huge sexual innuendo. But when a girl calls a guy hot stuff, she's going to make him happy, and that leads to sexy times when it comes to a guy's thinking. This one's just a nice flirty text in all the right ways. And this is also a great flirty kind of a trivia text. If you don't know, this is actually a quote from the movie 16 Candles. It's the thing that Long Duck Dong says to Molly Ringwald's character in the movie. See if he catches that. All right, finally, sexy text message number 7. You're the man. Never underestimate how horny you can make a guy just by affirming him as being a strong masculine presence for you. Men almost never get this kind of recognition from women. Simple recognition of his manliness is pretty darn effective for a guy. If he is a man, the best thing you can do to get him acting like one is to tell him that you see his sexy masculinity bubbling under the surface, just waiting to ravage you in the bedroom. Look, you've got 160 characters in a single text, so you got to use them well. You can text these that I've given you to him, or you can say them to him. They don't even have to be text. You can use them as words, and you'll make him so obsessed with you, he'll beg you to drop the phone and do that sheet shredding action I told you about. But there's something else. If you want to learn how to really get him obsessed with you, that's where you've got to put your focus. The key to getting a man to fall in love with you is to get him to fantasize about you when you're not around. Most women don't know this, but men fall in love with women when you're not there. So you've got to get him thinking about you or all is lost. If you want to learn how to do that, go on over to datingadviceguru.com/obsession. Just click the link you see below this video. And of course, as always, make sure you subscribe so you keep getting this great stuff. Leave your comments below because I love to answer your questions and use them for future videos. And hey, like it. Thumbs up from YouTube. Oh wait, that's Facebook. Just like the video. And this is Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. As always, your ever-loving narrator, and I want you to what? Live and love with passion.